Tonight on Debate Amongst Friends, NBA news, including the All Star Weekend recap, and Doc and Prof take a look at the second half of the season. We'll also go over the NFL settling with Colin Kaepernick and some rumors that we've heard, and so much more starting now.
Ladies and gentlemen of the internet, welcome to another fine edition of Debate Amongst Friends live on YouTube. Shout out to everyone out there in Periscope. Today is February 20th, 2019. We're in the second half of the NBA season, ladies and gentlemen. I am ready. I am your moderator, the Professor John Gotti. No, I am no quintessential sub muffin, but I'm one of the best goddamn snipers you'll ever see. But along with that, and even more importantly, I am the advocate for the reigning, defending, undisputed podcast champion that can Leroy any Jenkins and make him cry. Wow. Doc Lesnar, how you doing tonight?
I am doing great. Quintessential data analyzing ninja John Gotti.
Quintessential data analyzing ninja that can crunch data with his teeth.
Ninja plus. I'm doing good though, man. Long day. It's raining here in the great state of North Carolina, but we're tuned in for a great one as the Duke UNC rival continues. I've heard people say earlier, I can't believe Duke fans wear Michael Jordans. Why don't you go and wear Grant Hills?
Wow.
So that's just to give you a little taste of the actual beef.
I can't believe they said that. I cannot. Tell me I didn't just hear that. Tell me I did not hear that.
We were told to wear Grant Hills instead. Which I don't. I've never owned a pair of Jordans anyway, so it doesn't matter to me.
Actually, now that I think about it, I never did as well either. More or less because it was too expensive, and Mama Gotti was like, "Nope, ain't happening."
I don't blame you. I didn't want them, honestly. And this is just, a quick sidebar, but I never wanted Jordans. I've never been a brand guy, and it just never.
It's debate amongst friends or business amongst friends or game amongst friends. Like you follow the social media, that's what else is about too.
That's right, of course. Buying into our brand, absolutely. But as far as just buying things just because, that's never been my style. But some people are like fair. That, and no judgment against them, because I'm sure there are things that we buy that other people don't.
Yeah, that's fair. One thing that we always like to buy, and we don't have shame talking about it, is always drinking our favorite beverage, Stella Artois. However, that is not tonight's sponsor, but we'll get to that later.
Absolutely. Now, speaking of people buying things, I'm sure people bought some pretty expensive tickets, spent some money on some quality hotels this past weekend in Charlotte for the NBA All-Star Game.
All-Star Game? More like no-star game.
Well,
the Boar-Star Game.
Boar-Star, that's where I thought you were going to go with this. Chlorophyll, more like Borophyll. That's what I thought you were going with this.
Over there just boring me, bro. Over there just robbing me of my time.
Don't rob me, bro. So, do you want to start with the All-Star Game and work our way back to everything else? Oh my God. We're talking about, I've never seen so many points scored in an All-Star game. Usually 130, 140s, but I mean, they were up past 160 and
Yes.
170. It was
Both
ridiculous.
both teams scored over 160 points at the end of the game. That's
How
ridiculous.
crazy.
Now, the worst part about the All-Star game, we're talking about Sunday. We're going to talk about Saturday.
Hmm. Yes,
Because in fact, I felt like Friday was better than all three
right.
than the other two days. But that's
Same,
just my opinion.
same here. But what did you
I
think about the
like
game?
my problem was the dialogue leaving that game, and it's an exposition game. I could talk today, ladies and gentlemen.
No, you're
Was about the
fine.
20-point lead that Team Giannis, uh, lost.
Hmm.
Yeah, we're just talking about it was a friendly exhibition match. Like, it has no claim or anything. Oh, but since the LeBron James team made it back and won it, oh, now y'all want to talk about this. Stop it. Stop it.
um, well, the first thing that popped out to me, of course, was the fact that James Harden didn't score 30 points.
Oh,
So
we
that's one
have
of
to,
the first
we're going to talk
things.
about that. Oh, we're going to talk about
Yeah,
that.
that's the first thing. And I mean, I saw that he struggled mightily. So
Mm-hmm.
after a while, I'm not gonna lie, I turned it off because I felt like he was one of the reasons why they were probably down in the beginning of the game. Um, so I was like, this is not a good look, James. Don't carry this into the second half of the season. I need you to keep your 30-point streak alive. Hopefully, this doesn't officially count.
Well, I mean, in his defense, though, like, he doesn't need to score 30 points in an All Star game. I mean,
That's,
really, only one or two people for the All Star game will score over 30 points.
and I agree.
That's usually how it goes.
And of course, I'm just kidding. I think we were all just, I think most people were just there, to see Dirk, to see Dwayne Wade throw an alley oop to LeBron. I think that's what people wanted to see. And they got a chance to see it. So, I thought that was, that part of the game was pretty good. But everything
Honestly, I wasn't even a
else,
fan of that. It was pretty trash, bro.
that the lob wasn't good enough for you.
No, like, I'll give Commissioner Silver a lot of credit. You know, instead of Dirk and D Wade taking up an All Star starter spot because
Hmm.
that's what it was leading to with Dwayne Wade, he gave them that
Hmm.
special spot on the roster.
Gotcha.
So bravo to the commissioner for that. Like, had Dwayne Wade turned into an All Star starter, I probably wouldn't have watched the game at all. Like, ladies and gentlemen, I'm just being real with you. It was that bad of a game, and I didn't like the voting because I'm like, well, Dwayne Wade, blah blah blah. I'm like, and the worst part, and I was thinking about this after the All Star game. I was like, wait a minute, LeBron James missed 17 games, and he still made it to the All Star team. What the heck?
Well, yeah, and I guess the way they're doing this, and it always seems like it's going to be LeBron, and I guess because LeBron joined the West, it's going to be him and Giannis, opposed to I think him and Steph one
Yep.
year.
Hmm.
So I'm curious if there'll ever be another
Leading
captain.
vote. Yeah.
Yeah, like
I feel like unless someone sweep the legs, it won't happen.
that's so terrible. Not sweep the legs,
Sweep the
not
legs.
the legs. But ultimately, I mean, the
Are
game
are
was.
are you questioning me? No,
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 no
sensei,
sensei.
no,
No
sensei.
sensei. I want to go out. I can beat this guy, though. I can beat this guy. Which, I felt like LeBron felt he could do. But I think ultimately, I thought, again, from the front, I thought Team LeBron was just better. The one player that I am happy for that he got a little bit of shine was Klay Thompson. And I
Yes.
think Clay this year, if he leaves the Warriors and goes to a team, hopefully not LA. Honestly, I would be happy if Clay went to New York or to the Clippers or team where he could be the number one guy. I would want to see Clay as the number one guy. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
because I
Clay
think
played
he's,
22 minutes, scored 20 points.
yeah, I think he's a player that, if he gets a chance, I think he could really, really do some great things for a team.
I can agree with that. Um, I I feel like it becomes hard to try to predict where a lot of these players going because the media, yes, those media is over there, including that pissant Shannon Sharp, is having
No.
everyone who is going into free agency going to the Lakers. Like apparently the Lakers have New York Yankees and Boston Red Sox type of money, and they could just sign everyone
Yeah, I don't
because
know
that's
what's
literally
going
been the
on.
narrative all year long. So it makes it hard for the casual fan to think of a player of a Klay Thompson level going to a team other than the Lakers.
And it makes the not only just the casual fan, but the unknowing fan, the fan that believes that a team can be filled with basically a fantasy team.
Yep.
And I see this in football a lot. Like, you know, um, hey, let's go out and get Le'Veon Bell, Antonio Brown. Let's go get this player. And you're looking at it, you're like, well, that's
I
50
mean,
million. That's $50 million.
I mean, at one
You
time
know,
people were saying let's go and get Trent Richardson.
behind that Cowboys line because anybody can run
Exactly.
behind that Cowboys line.
Exactly. But we'll get to
Um,
NFL in a moment. Let's stick with the NBA for
absolutely.
now.
But I know, but I bring that up because it's like I don't think people really look at the financial and business aspect of sports.
Absolutely not.
So, like that's my favorite part. Like I love sport business. Wish I would have took it up as a major in college. I love it so much.
You
Um,
still can.
so, yeah, that's very true. Still a pretty young man, just in the second quarter of my life. So yeah, absolutely. But I feel like people skip past the finances. It's like you can't just say, "Hey," just because the Warriors did it, because the Warriors took advantage of a draft system and
Well,
a
it's not as
salad.
much as they took advantage of it. They just got you know lucky enough to draft the people that they did at the time because all the other teams before them didn't see the value in that player.
This is true. People passed on Draymond. A whole bunch of
People
people passed
passed
on
on
Draymond.
Draymond. People passed on Steph. The Knicks would have got Steph if the Warriors didn't pick him up. I'm not
This is
saying that to be
true.
salty, but like people can't sit there and boo hoo about well they got all these draft people from the draft blah blah blah. Like yeah, well your team also went over them. Like you
Right.
can't sit there and cry wolf, but at the same time be like nah we didn't want him anyway.
Absolutely. I mean, there have been a lot of teams that, when you look back, I mean, I can almost imagine that there were a lot of teams, GMs that are like, I cannot believe I missed on this player or
Yep.
that player.
Yep.
Um, I mean, just think about it like this: 2001, Michael Jordan drafts Kwame Brown. He could
Yes.
have had he could have had Paul Gasol.
Mhm.
Even if he would have got Tyson Chandler, it would have been okay.
I think
You know what I
Tyson Chandler
mean?
would have been a much better option.
Joe Johnson was in that draft.
The
You know what
quiet
I'm
all
saying?
star.
Zach Randolph. Some of these guys have been really serviceable. Tony Parker. People that
Tony Parker.
these people that. And then lastly, Agent Zero himself,
Gilbert Arenas.
Gilbert Arenas. Yeah. So I mean, you think about the draft. People passed on
The,
people,
the
and
the
they became
Swaggy P
stars.
before Swaggy P.
Exactly. Pulling out guns in the locker room.
I was talking about doing a posing after throwing up a shot. But the
Moving
difference is
on.
Gilbert Arenas actually makes the shot.
This is true. This is true. But I mean, ultimately, I think that I can't fault the Warriors, and theoretically, they can re-sign Clay, Steph, Draymond as many
Yep.
times as they want, because they own those bird rights. So even if they wanted to keep Clay and pay him, the same pretty much similar amount of money that Steph got, they could, and it would just go against the luxury tax. I mean, ultimately, you could see them let KD walk to re-sign Clay, which I
Hmm.
wouldn't be mad at them for.
I wouldn't
You
be
know,
mad at
uh,
that either. Especially
you
with
know,
KD coming to New York, apparently, according to all the media hype.
despite your pleasure,
I'm just like, well, I mean, I guess, whatever. You know?
right?
I'll be
But
abashedly, satisfied. I won't be happy, but I'll be satisfied.
it would be interesting. But let's not go too far away from it. Let's move on to the Friday and Saturday festivities. Can we start with the dunk contest?
Yeah, we could start with that
I
shell
mean,
of its former self.
I've
Like,
never seen so
like
many missed opportunities
not even just the misses, the lack of creativity with these dunks. And I had the privilege, the honor of watching the dunk contest with the Duke. And I was explaining to him like, well, yeah, it looks good, but like it's not a 50 point, worthy of a dunk. Like it's like a 42. But they're giving it like a 48, a 46, a 49, a 50. I'm like, there's nothing
right.
there that will make you go, oh, well, this dunk right here is so good that we're going to remember it 5 years from now. No, no, we honestly, we really didn't get a dunk like that on Saturday, in my opinion.
I agree. I thought the dunk that Hamadou Diallo did over Shaq was okay.
That was a 47.
Yeah, it was okay. A lot of people say he put his hand on his back and all that other crap. I mean, he cleared him. That's the most important thing.
He did clear him.
I obviously next year, if any of these contestants want to repeat, they're most likely going to have to go against Zion, which is going to be ridiculous.
Well, I feel like Zai already won.
I feel the same thing because I mean
I
he's just
mean,
got the hops to really do.
let's just sit here and call the spade a spade. Like, is Zion, if if he decides to go to the draft after this
Which
season,
I believe he will.
let's put that out there because no one's talking about that possibility
Of him staying,
of him staying one more year.
it would be interesting.
But I mean,
Well, I don't know.
he's not staying. But I'm just putting that
Yeah,
little nugget in back of people's heads, especially for
it's a
that
good
Dookie
nugget.
sitting right across from me.
It's a good possibility. I won't say that. I mean, like I said, I think with Zion it's a little different because they're already talking about him going top three, top four, if
Hmm.
not top. As a top pick. So it's tough. But
No,
I
and I
mean, yeah,
get
if he
that, but
joins,
like if he joins, he already won the dunk competition.
oh yeah, it's gonna be
Like
something
just
crazy.
just think about it.
He has the hops to do so many crazy dunks, though. And
Like,
and this goes back to your creativity pour. Like I was so disappointed in John Collins.
yeah, and he was dunking up a storm during the U.S. versus World game.
Mm,
Like he impressed the Duke, and it's hard to impress the Duke.
right. He had some great regular season dunks, but it didn't transition over to the dunk contest.
Like honestly, it really felt like the dunk competition was in-game dunks. That's it. That's it. And you could
Yeah,
tell that they're really good at in-game dunks and not creative dunks with how many, as you was alluding to, how many misses dunkers were having. Dennis
it's
Smith
true.
Jr. was the biggest disappointment for me, not just because he's he's currently a New York Knick, but the souls of Kenny Skywalker and Nate
Right.
Robinson in a dunking matter are rolling in their graves at his performance. It was despicable. It was terrible.
Yeah, and the fact that he missed, and I'll give him credit. I mean, the dunk was okay. He pulled out J. Cole. It was
No,
crowd pleasing.
no, and so I'm gonna give a lot of props to the internet community because they were the real winners of Saturday night. They were the real winners because they was getting on J. Cole. And they got on J. Cole in a complimentary manner and not so much saying, oh, aha, you fell, and bust your behind. I mean, we've seen people do that all
hmm
the time. I mean, this person
hmm
speaking right now included. Like, I got rejected by the rim a couple of times myself. But they were saying, wow, J. Cole had the best dunk of the night. And he didn't even dunk it.
He missed, yeah, completely. Um, hmm. Like I said, I give Dennis Smith. I guess that was the entertaining portion. What Amadou Diallo gave us was it was entertainment. And I didn't feel like a lot of the other dunks were even relatively close, and
I
that's the
feel
only
like
reason he won.
I feel like ever since the Blake Griffin won dunk competition, like it's been steadily declining. The Zach Levine versus Aaron Gordon dunk competition, that was good. Like their final
Yeah,
round was the best we've seen since VC. But in between
and
those two and after that was TAS dot dot dot. Oh wait, trash. And I
wow.
dare anyone out there in the comments to argue with me about it. Tell
No,
me a
here's the only
dunk.
thing about it.
Wait, hold on. Tell me a dunk, and this is a question for everyone out there. Put that out there in the comments. Tell me a dunk from between Vince Carter to now. So you can't include
Hmm.
Vince Carter, and you can't include the Zach Levine, Aaron Gordon dunks, because I already said that was good. Tell me one that is memorable.
Mm.
And for the love of Almighty, do not tell me Blake Griffin jumping over the car.
Which, John Collins jumped over the plane and pretty much broke it in half, pretty much.
I was more afraid for the people who had to like stand underneath there. Like people started putting up memes saying "rip, rip Red Tail's plane." Like it was
Mm.
hilarious. Like I was having more fun like watching the trolls online than I did the dunk competition. Like that's how bad that dunk competition is. When the memes out there were better than the competition. Like people were
It was
competing to
really,
have the
really
best
tough.
meme.
No, it was really, really tough. It was really boring. Like I said, and that's just a part of it. The misses made it a little worse.
I agree.
But I'm gonna give the dunk contest probably about a 32 if I was gonna give a number.
Like 32 out of.
The 50?
Are we doing this? Cause
I mean, you can do it. I'm gonna give it a 32. I mean,
I'm
the
gonna give it.
and the only reason I'm gonna give it a 32 because of some of the effort. Like I saw what Miles Bridges was trying to do, something that had never been done before. I know that between the legs had been done before, but I guess to not run and gather off the backboard between the legs,
Mm-hmm.
the idea was pretty impressive. And if he would have been able to get it down, he probably would have got a 40 something for it. But I'm gonna give it a 32. I like what Dennis Smith Jr. did. Um, it's just those misses. It just added up for me.
I hate to be that person, but this dunk competition gets a 5 out of 50.
Dang. Don't hate to be that person
In
if that's
fact,
your
that's
role,
that's
know
with
it.
me giving them more points because of their effort.
Dang. They got 1 point each for showing up.
Exactly. See, you knew
Wow.
exactly where I was going with that. That was
Oh
that
yeah,
was my like.
absolutely.
It was just so bad. It was
That's
bad.
so funny.
And I'm left sitting here laughing because ESPN is trying to hype it up like it was the best thing in the world, but they kept comparing it to other competitions. In fact, they wasn't even comparing it; they just kept showing other competitions. That's all they were doing. I'm watching the jump, and they're showing Vince Carter dunks, and I'm just like, yeah,
Mm,
like had we had a performance like a Vince Carter, they would have never showed these old dunks. They would have just been showing the dunks for this year,
right.
and that shows the testament of how lackluster, how boring. Like I almost fell asleep.
Hmm.
It was that bad.
So again, I think this is the part that made it worse is that Tracy McGrady said that Vince Carter should have been in this 2019 dunk contest.
I agree with him.
It would have been
Old man
ridiculous.
Carter would probably win. Free,
Super free.
free.
Yeah,
But
super free.
so Jay Williams did make one suggestion that I liked. So that Monday, on Get Up, he made a suggestion that I actually enjoyed. So instead of them competing against each other for the dunk competition, why don't you have some of these street dunkers go up against them?
That
And
would be good.
I feel like that'll be better because that'll light a fire underneath them
Mm-hmm.
and make them try even
Yeah.
harder. Because these street dunkers are amazing.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think that'd be.
how many times have you watched YouTube videos of the air up there,
Oh
Mister
God.
720? Like all he has
Yeah.
to do is do a 720 once and walk away. Like he already won the dunk competition compared to these other dunks on Saturday. You know I'm
Mm-mm.
right. You know I'm
All
right.
50, all 50s too.
Yeah, like he can sit there and just do nothing but 720s. Like four 720s and he'll win. That's it. Won't even
Mm-mm.
get old. Won't even get old because no one else could do it.
All 50s.
All 50s. Bang. Free.
But the last two things here, and you just let me know which you felt. I know you said Friday was a little better than Sunday, but the 3-point contest. What did you think about the 3-point contest?
I think for anyone who expected a Curry led 3-point competition was sorely disappointed. And I
Absolutely.
blame TNT for making it, so much about them, about
Hmm.
Seth and Stephen Curry.
Yeah,
Um,
even at the little spot in the beginning with the father
with
Dell. I
the
know they're
fall,
all from North
yes,
Carolina, so it made
yes.
sense to make it about them. But I think Seth, fizzling out so quickly
First of all, they all
made.
got tired. Like that was problem number one. Even the first ever unanimous MVP of the league got tired.
Yeah.
Like that was the part that really grinded my gears. I'm just like, I mean, what the heck? Did y'all, decide to have a couple of cold ones before the competition? Like, what the heck?
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure what the heck happened. All I know is that, shout out to Joe Harris. I mean,
Yeah,
he took advantage of it. He, risen out of the shadows of LeBron in Cleveland and then went to the Nets, and basically he might have made a name for himself out here.
you know what? And but this is what the All Star competition is all about, though, is to getting these, you know, unknown people that we don't know before and seeing what they got. Granted, we had that in the dunk competition. Yeah, it didn't turn out that well, but Joe Harris, he came out there, he balled for both rounds. He balled out
Yeah. And I
against
mean,
the
ultimately, you
greatest
get
shooter
two
that we've ever
guys who
seen,
aren't,
quote unquote, Stephen A. Smith.
who aren't
And a
all
bevy of
stars. You
other,
get two
yeah,
guys who won these two competition,
I know,
who get a little recognition.
I know.
So I was pretty happy with it. Um, but what about Friday made you a little more excited about than the rest of the weekend?
I think it was the pace of the game between, with the rookies and sophomores. Like they
Hmm.
balled. Yeah, they was having fun to, throwing up lobs, but like when they needed to ball, they balled. Shout
Right.
outs to Kyle Kuzma, who is showing people like, no, no, I'm not that bad. Like
Hmm.
I can actually ball. Like don't sit there and try to say, oh well, I'm only good enough because LeBron is there. No, I can actually ball out. Jason Tatum,
Mm.
he came out there and played too.
Yeah,
I mean,
he did.
Luka Doncic. I mean, what else can you say about the guy? I mean, I can't wait to go to a Mavericks game to see him do this stuff live.
Absolutely.
Like
And
it's gonna be quite the treat
and
for me.
I think he came as advertised.
Exactly. But like
Yeah, he
that was
came
the
as
best
advertised.
game between the two. That was the better game.
I think I read one report. I forget who was interviewing, but somebody said they thought that Doncic was a myth. I can't remember who said it. They were like, oh, it was Jaren Jackson of who was on the Grizzlies now. He was like, I did not think he was even real. Like, because you hear about how good these, some players are. Like, oh my
Yep.
God, there's this guy, in another country. Like, he's like really, really good,
Yeah.
you know. But you always hear these wise tales. It's almost like, as I mentioned over the weekend, it's like Uncle Drew, you being the Uncle Drew of sniping in the game. I mean, it's like it's a street legend, but it's a legend
I'm
that
just
needs to be
trying not
a
to
legend
screw
that
up.
needs to be told.
But I agree with you, and the biggest issue, and I was mentioning this to the Duke earlier in the month. I was like, the problem is no one's gonna know about these young people because the only storylines that we was having this year were
The
Braun in
Lakers and
L.A.,
LeBron James. Yeah.
KD's free agency,
Hmm.
AD's trade.
Yeah. And even though he's balling down there, Luca is balling,
He
in
is balling.
Dallas, and
He's pretty
uh,
much gonna be rookie of the year.
yeah, and they're gonna have a pretty good team moving forward once they get KP back and add another piece or two. They're gonna be really, really
Exactly.
good.
But like that's the problem that I have, and I agree with Kyrie Irving with his little interview with Michelle Nichols.
Hmm.
Um, earlier today, I don't know if you had a chance to watch that interview actually,
I
but he was
didn't.
he was saying like the media is a big catalyst to a lot of the drama that goes on in the locker rooms, and I agree. But I'm agreeing in a different way. The media has an issue when it comes to getting more people recognized.
Right,
Because
because they
Luca,
keep
for
the
a
same
good portion of
narrative.
time, was in the starters, All Star starters conversation.
This is true.
He was literally right there. What happened after that? People didn't talk about Luca that much anymore.
Mm.
And what happened because of that? Well, now all the casual fans is only seeing LeBron James' name in the news. They're just gonna vote him up, and Luca's stock went all the way down. I'm telling you, these are the things that happen.
Yeah, and that's the problem with the media and of course fans. People who don't really, some people don't really love the game, but love players,
Which
and that's
we
the
don't have a
shift.
problem with that, but you have to make that known.
People don't make that known.
But
Some people
like
aren't able to differentiate the two.
exactly.
Some people have been, Cavs fans for so long that they're like, I don't really like the Cavs. I kind of just like LeBron. Actually, I'm a Laker fan. Actually, I've never been a Cavs fan. I've
Oh,
always been a Lakers fan.
we had many of arguments with people who claimed they were Heat fans, and then when LeBron James went back to Cleveland, we said, they said, oh well, yeah, we're Cavs fans. We've always been Cavs fans. And Q
Yes,
Mart, see, well, shout out to Q Mart. So we need to get him back on actually
we
towards the
do.
playoff actually.
We
But
do.
Q Mart was like,
Playoff.
yeah,
Playoff.
but when we when we ask you like name one All Star other than LeBron James, or name an All Star before LeBron James, or one player on the cast before LeBron James, like no one knows who to say.
I mean, not even Mark Price.
Well, the problem is no one knew who Mark Price was.
Wow.
Like that's the problem. No one knows who Mark Price was, and then sit there and claim they're a Cavaliers fan. No, it doesn't work like
Mm,
that. It doesn't work like that
mm.
at all.
No, not even close. But I mean, looking over it, I mean, we can't change the media. They're going to do their job. Obviously, they're doing their job correctly as the heels. So we have to just kind of, you know, accept
I
it
don't
and
know.
try to be a different media outlet.
So wait, are you saying that Doc and Prof need to give the media some black mass
We need to
to
erase their
inject
face.
a little poison?
Yeah, we need to erase their face.
We need to give them knees to face.
In the face. In the face.
uh, but let's get away from the All Star game because I feel like we're gonna keep talking about this and just completely ragging on them. Let's talk about second half of the NBA season.
I mean, ultimately, and we're not going to go into it because I know we said last week that we weren't going to go talk about LeBron.
No,
But I'm
only thing we're gonna
looking.
say about the Lakers is they had the fourth hardest schedule towards the end of the year. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm moving on after
That's
that.
all. That's it.
We're
I
we're moving on Cincinnati. We're moving on Cincinnati. We're moving on Cincinnati.
so the only other thing really is that now they're gonna try, even though we said last week that they shouldn't. They're gonna try to basically move on and try to make it to the playoffs, which they're currently in 10th. So, that kind of, makes sense. Um, but we're going to see, like you said, they have an uphill battle and hopefully they're able to make it out. But as
All
far
I gotta
as
say about it is if they manage to make it to the playoffs, they're gonna be the eighth seed. They don't want to be the eighth seed.
they don't.
And in fact, I actually laughed because people were saying that if they make it to the seventh seed and play the second seed, which most likely may end up being the Nuggets, they said that the Lakers could beat the Nuggets.
I don't think so. Not the way the Nuggets are playing.
I'm just like, why are you sitting there just like undervaluing what the Nuggets been doing all year? Like that's disrespectful to me and this basketball business. Like everyone keep trying to give LeBron James easier path, and they think that the Denver Nuggets are an easy pass.
Yeah.
No,
Um, but
stop it.
but ultimately, but ultimately in the West, I think things are going to stay relatively the same. I don't think anything's going to really change. You get some people coming back from injury, like Clint
Mm-hmm.
Capella. There are some people who, you look at the Thunder. I assume that they're probably going to move up maybe a spot. Maybe I don't think they can move
Well,
up too
they're
much, but
third, so what? They're gonna be second.
they may move up to second. They're playing hot. That's the only movement I could possibly see. Maybe some between 5 through 8, 5 through 7. With the surging, quote unquote, surging Lakers. Um,
Surging.
but
They lost their last two for All Star break. What?
hey, that's
How is that
from what I've
surging?
from our ticker here. It says that the Lakers and LeBron are turning on their playoff intensity.
Yeah, you want me to
That's
tell
what
you
I,
what that is though? That's some pissant from Bleacher Report. Trying to gas up the Lakers for stuff that they have no clue what they're talking about.
Absolutely.
You
Now,
know I'm
what
right.
do you think
You
about the?
know I'm right.
No, you're absolutely right. Now, what do you think about the East? Anything on the East that stands out? I mean, obviously, besides the Bucks, looking like a pretty solid squad.
Well, the Bucks and the Raptors, I mean, they might end up being the top two. My big surprise and a pleasant surprise is the Indiana Pacers. That despite the fact that they lost their leading scorer, Victor Oladipo, Mr. Wakanda Forever,
Hmm.
they're still winning. And I like that in the team. That grittiness
True.
is something that I can
True.
get behind. And we keep talking about that with like, okay, there's a team going into the playoffs, and they win games, they're pretty gritty. Okay, we like it. Okay, let's follow them real quick. Like that's what the Pacers are this year for me. Like they're that gritty team. They don't have a star anymore.
Well, I'll say the Pacers to me have always been that team.
Yes.
Like the Pacers in the East, the Grizzlies in the West. I feel like they've always been that team. Um, to me, you had Paul Paul George
Hmm.
and you had Danny Granger. Granger went down, George George, and you saw the emergence of Lance Stevenson kind
Yep.
of come in.
Oh, Lance.
Right. Now you're looking at, some young players there that they have who basically are stepping up to play that role, but they play team basketball. Most of these small market teams play team basketball.
They do.
So, it's one of those things where it works. The Nuggets quietly, they have some talent,
They have
you know,
really good talent, but they play
you know,
team ball.
right. And what a fit for someone like Paul Millsap who's been a star in this league.
Hmm.
not so much a superstar, but a
But a
star.
star. He's an all-star.
All star, exactly. To fit in with these young guys
Mm-hmm.
who have star potential within themselves.
And not to mention, they just got Isaiah Thomas back.
And we're gonna see if he can, get back to the old Isaiah, toothless
Like,
aggression Isaiah.
wow. 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 I don't
And
even know
I
what
go
to
too
say
far
there.
on did I go too far on that one?
I don't even know what to say there.
I mean, toothless aggression. I mean,
Wow.
no,
Like, can we say that? Like, Helen?
I think so.
Oh,
I
she
think
said it's
so.
okay. All right.
I mean, that's what the narrative was. It was toothless and it was aggressive.
I feel like that was just a T-shirt.
It may have been, but they did get him back. Anybody you think going to surprise us and jump back into the playoff race from the
From
East? I
the
mean, I feel like it's
East,
I feel like it's
I think
pretty.
exactly what you see might be it. Maybe the 7 through 10 spot might flip flop a little bit towards the end.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I mean John Wall's down, and I don't know what they're going to try to do for the rest of the season there. The Hawks, they just bums. Of course, my Knickerbockers, we didn't know what they're doing. The Cavs are a shell of
Yeah,
their former selves. I mean, I don't know if you heard this, but they fired their coach after 6 games.
yeah, I did hear that.
But I mean, I
The
guess the
biggest
other surprise
news
that
coming out of Cleveland. The biggest news coming out of Cleveland is that Tristan Thompson was
oh
what basically had five girlfriends
oh
on Valentine's Day.
oh the Duchess was just telling me about that the other day too.
Yeah, how ridiculous is that? That's the biggest news out of Cleveland though, since LeBron left.
I feel like that was the only news out of Cleveland since LeBron left.
Well, of course, Tyronn Lue got fired after 6 games.
No, no, because we both predicted that was going to happen.
Poor Tyrone. I think they, you know what, and then we're gonna move on to the NFL, but I feel like the Cavs should have done a better job of trying to
It's the
build.
Cavs. No,
I
no, no. I get what you're saying. I know exactly what you're about to say. No, no, because the Cavaliers did this to the Cavaliers. The
think they did,
Cavaliers did this to the
in
Cavaliers.
but you look, I mean, the Heat. I would say the Heat started to basically say, okay, we're gonna lose LeBron. What's next?
No, the Heat didn't
You
even know they
know,
was going to lose LeBron.
but see, the thing is, the Heat. But that's what I'm saying. The Heat they still had Bosch. They still had Wade. They still had a few other pieces there. Then you go out and get somebody like you draft a Whiteside or they sign Whiteside. I forget if he was undrafted or not, but you get Whiteside and you bring in Dragic. You make some moves. Like I feel like the Cavs and some of these smaller teams, they don't make those moves. Like they could have done something at the trade deadline to try to clear cap, or they could have
Nope,
tried to, you know what I mean?
nope,
But I just didn't feel like they
nope.
even tried to do anything.
You're giving Dan Gilbert way too much credit.
So now they're gonna bring in, an RJ Barrett or, somebody like that and basically expect them to carry this team with, Colin Sexton, who's, he's okay. But they're expecting these guys to just save the team when you really need really a star on your team. You need it. You need it. I'm not saying that RJ Barrett's not going to be a star, but I don't trust I don't I've never trusted a rookie to lead a team to the finals.
I
And
can agree with you.
if you think that, you know, you're gonna get like lightning in a bottle, like, oh, this guy's gonna be the next LeBron. Like, it's just it's just
I
unrealistic to me.
I get what you're saying, and not to get all biblical, but like I feel like this is the Cavaliers' penance
Hmm.
for not listening to the show because sometimes they listen to the show, but they listen to it with only one ear open. Like they should have been listening with both ears after we told them like LeBron is leaving after the season. LeBron is leaving after the
Hmm.
season, And I've said this many a times during that year. LeBron is leaving
Mm.
after the season.
He
LeBron is done.
gave
He's
he
done.
brought a
He gave up.
championship to his home. Absolutely. He brought a championship
He has
home.
nothing else to do. He's leaving.
Absolutely.
He
You're 100% right.
y'all got y'all championship. That's the only thing I could talk about now. But guess
Hmm.
what? LeBron James is leaving.
I'm about to take care of me, get this last money grab,
I'm like,
get a few
I
endorsement
didn't hear
deals,
people trashing him. I didn't see Jersey getting burned. I see nothing.
which would have been unwarranted in this situation. But I mean, speaking of jerseys being burned, we should probably move on to the NFL. Because I think I saw a jersey or two burned, and I think I'm going to see probably when I log online later on a few other jerseys burned. So,
Mm-hmm.
did you have anything else for the NBA you wanted to throw in there?
Well, I mean, the only thing I could think about is we was talking about salary caps and all that other stuff heading into the 2019-2020 season.
Mm-hmm.
The New York Knicks has the highest cap space. Well, I already alluded to that a few weeks ago. Number two actually is the Los Angeles Clippers. So don't be surprised if the Los Angeles Clippers might be making some noise, as well as the Brooklyn Nets, who has about 55 million dollars in cap room for this upcoming summer.
So the only thing is that I'm hoping that teams don't spend recklessly. Like it's okay
Yes.
to have money left over, like if you really need to, like let's say the Knicks are only able to get KD this offseason.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And then next year, hey, maybe they can get Anthony Davis. You know what I
This is true.
mean? Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, I just think that even though just because you have the money doesn't
You
mean you need
shouldn't
to
spend it.
spend the money.
Yes.
Like that, you don't have to. But I think these teams realize, they really get the money and they're like, well, let's just spend it. It's like burning a hole in their pocket. Like
Mm-hmm.
let's not carry any money over. But it's like, hold on, let's keep some of this money.
Well, and FYI too, the Lakers are number seven, with $43 million. So like
And
they,
they're gonna
I don't.
clear some of that.
Of course, absolutely.
Yeah, they're gonna clear some of that. And yeah, it's gonna be really different in the off season, and we're gonna see a lot of movement. I think a lot of moving pieces. But ultimately, a smart team is going to realize when to bow out and go in a different direction. Like Kevin Durant when he went on his tour, before joining the Warriors. It's like you have an opportunity to sign these players. I think, you know, the Rockets in particular, because that's the team I follow, of course. We had an opportunity to sign. I think it was Chris Bosh we were waiting for, but we
Mm-hmm.
missed on some. We missed on some other people, and then teams miss on re-signing their own players because they're so focused on that star joining the team that they lose all hopes of their strategy. You know what I mean? So it's like you're sacrificing pieces that you have already just so that you can sign this player who ultimately ends up going to another team, and that's whack.
It is whack, but unfortunately, I mean, you got people to blame, but I can't say the name because people would think I'm a hater if I say that person's name. So you're
Don't say
welcome, LeBron
it.
James. Oops.
Ooh, I can't believe you went there. I mean, and it's not all LeBron's fault. It's not just LeBron. It's just the mindset of owners. Like I don't think
Yes.
it's not owners, and not just owners, GMs. I don't think it's creative to be like, okay, I'm gonna try to build quote unquote the new big three. You know what I mean? Like you should want to build a team like the Nuggets. You know, like the Pacers.
Mm-hmm.
Theoretically, the Pistons should have worked. They're just missing a piece or two.
Yes. Well,
They
and
got to
and
be
I think of like Moneyball. The logic from Moneyball.
exactly,
Like you don't want to buy players, you want to buy wins. You buy wins
exactly
by having a good team. And a team with
right.
chemistry. If you just have a team full of stars and no chemistry, then it's gonna fail.
Which is why the Warriors are so it's such a big deal
Yes.
because this is organic.
Mm-hmm.
It's really close to being organic.
It was organic.
KD, yeah, KD makes it a little bit less organic, but You know,
No, see, even
it's
with Kate, it's still organic. All they did was sign someone. Like that's the thing that people don't understand. Like it was organic.
it, so okay. I'll say it's because they drafted all their players and then signed KD. I guess it would be theoretically organic. It's still natural. Like they naturally put this team together.
Yes.
People didn't come together and say, "Hey, we should make this team." Because
Like
technically,
there were no banana boats.
right? KD could have went back to OKC. He could have chose any other team. He could have chose the Lakers. He could have chose the Rockets. I forget some of the other teams he talked to that year. But ultimately, small market teams really have to get creative in their pitching. Because you think about it now that Anthony Davis is leaving the New Orleans area. New Orleans is going to have a hard time getting these stars to come back. So they're going to
Yes.
have to build a team similar to the Nets, similar to the Nuggets through the draft. It's going to have to be through the draft.
It's gonna there's no have to like it must happen through the draft.
That's why I think if I was the GM of the Pelicans, I probably would have taken the deal for maybe two or three first round picks and then called it a day. Um, because even though they're going to be late round picks, you're still going to have a chance of getting some quality players in the drafts ahead.
No, because it still wouldn't have been enough. It wouldn't have worked.
But you also were getting Kuzma and some of those other guys. I think Kuzma's a guy to build around, and that's the thing. If Kuzma stays, and re-signs with the team, and that's another thing that,
Then
I know he's still on his rookie
that's the issue.
deal,
Exactly. That's the issue right there.
but it's
Because
it's
the
it's
the biggest
tough.
red flag with Kuzma was is he really this good or is it because of LeBron James being there?
Well, no, Kuzma. I think Kuzma
No,
is
no.
good. He
And
was
and,
he
and,
was
and
good
I'm not
before.
saying
Yeah,
that he's not good. I'm just saying like as a GM,
yeah.
like that's what I'm thinking about. Like, is it just because of the impact of LeBron being on the team, even though he's not on the floor, or is it
Well,
that
no,
he's
because
naturally that
Kuzma.
good by himself? Now he
Yeah, because
showed that.
Kuzma was. Yeah,
Well,
last
I'm
year he
saying
was
like
pretty good
any
last year.
naysayers though. Oh, absolutely, but people forget about last year.
Yeah.
Once again, no one thought about the Lakers last year. No one talked about the Lakers last year. No one did.
Mm, I don't
No
remember
one
if we
talked
talked
about the
about
Lakers
Lakers
until
last
the
year.
last few games of the season. In fact,
Yeah, I
no one
can't
talked about
remember.
the Lakers until after the finals. No, during the finals. That's when they started talking about the Lakers. And that's only because, oh wait, LeBron James is gonna be a free agent this summer. Yeah, he's gonna go to LA. And they started talking about how you gotta do a house in LA and all this other jazz. No. No. I'm not letting him off the hook. No.
I hear you. I hear you. But we're back on the Lakers again, so
You brought
let
it
us
back
move
in there.
on.
Come on.
No, I didn't. I don't know what happened. I didn't even remember what happened.
I
I
don't
was
know
just talking
what
about
happened.
Kuzma, and then we just jumped back on the Lakers, and then
Let's
LeBron
keep
buying
going.
houses and
Let's
stuff.
keep going.
But let's move on to the NFL. I know we had just two or three topics on the NFL to cover
Yes.
really quickly. Your initial thoughts of the NFL reaching a deal with Colin Kaepernick in this collusion case. I've heard some narrative that suggests that by the NFL settling, that they're admitting some guilt, which usually is compared or usually I guess a given with settlements. Usually is that there is some guilt. But what did you think initially when the news broke of the settlement?
You know what the funny part is? I believe on this very show, we both agreed that the best thing for the NFL PR wise to get this Kaepernick off of their backs is to reach a settlement. And I believe we said that before this season, actually. That,
I think we just, I mean, yeah,
yeah, we both
yeah,
said that it has to be like a settlement needs to happen. Because otherwise, like, I mean, heck, look at the Super Bowl. It was really low watched. It was low
true.
viewed, which is
Well, it
terrible
was
for the
low,
Super Bowl.
right, and it was viewed because you have to, I guess, keep in mind that people didn't. want to watch Maroon 5 and, knowing that they could have watched Cardi B, or, or they could have had other people on the
Why?
stage, you know. Some people love Cardi B, man. You'll be surprised, bro. But my thing is to settle after all this time where you could have settled a long time ago. He could have been back in the league, playing and it would have been pretty good. And then there's also like different rumors coming out and I don't like to get into those speculations, but
Nope.
I just feel like this could have all been avoided had they just realized, hey, this is a social issue that we're having in this country and we're going to support our players basically their freedom of speech.
Oh goodness! It only took them what 2.5 years to finally
Two and a
realize
half
that.
years, right? And I
Like,
mean, and I'm
here's
happy that
like
Eric
like
Reed got a job, got a position. He's got an opportunity. So he
yeah, but
got the
that came with
settlement.
caveats too.
It did, yeah. That whole drug testing thing is ridiculous.
I mean, but here's the thing though, and I don't know if we talked about this, but I had a good laugh with that one commercial where they showed Roger Goodell walking walking in the city of Atlanta
Mm.
for Black awareness, for Black History Month. I was rolling.
Right.
I was
And
like,
I felt,
what? I was like, this is
I
so
felt
political.
that.
It's just so.
Yes.
It was so political. It was sad.
Oh God, it was sad, and the agenda, having the choir at the, in the Super Bowl halftime show, and
Ex.
I didn't think it was that good personally, but
No,
um,
I was rolling, bro. I was
yeah,
in tears.
yeah, I felt that narrative, was pretty strong, pro-black strong, and it was a little over the top, and it did come off as kind of fake,
It was
you know,
kind of fake.
yeah, it came up kind of
A
fake. I mean,
little.
I'm sure there was some sincerity to it, just a little bit, a hint,
Mm,
but
I'm
it,
not. I'm
it
not
came
giving them
off
that.
as
I'm not
fake.
giving them that, bro. I can't. I can't give them that. I can't.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you.
I can't.
Don't
And
give.
here's why. Here's why. If it was so sincere, why did it take them almost 3 years to finally start doing something? If it was so sincere, you could have prevented all this from happening. Your viewership, which is the main reason why they did this, wouldn't have suffered so much for the past 2 seasons.
Right, I agree. Boycotts and all kinds of things. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure what's going on and why. What I'm not sure what prompted them now to get it over with. I'm not
Because they was reaching a
100%
settlement.
sure.
That's exactly
Well,
why.
no, 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 no. But I'm not even sure like where this settlement came from. Like, was this something that was always on the table? You know what I mean? And we're just now hearing about it. Like
Well, and no
it,
one came out with details, and that's the other part that I dislike because that basically opens the door for so many different narratives and rumors about what's taking place. We have one side that's calling Colin Kaepernick a sellout because
and that
he
was my
reached a
next
settlement.
question.
Then we have others saying that the NFL looks worse because they got a settlement, they got this quote unquote monkey off their backs, to quote Steve
Hmm.
Young. And now things should be able to go back to normal. They can regain their viewership that they lost for the past 3 seasons.
Well, and I guess the question really lies is, does this mean that we'll see Colin Kaepernick on a team next
No,
year?
no,
You know what I
no,
mean? Or is it just because like now all of a sudden you're getting all these reports. Oh, Colin Kaepernick could ultimately replace Tom Brady. Oh,
no,
he could be,
no. You want me to tell you what
he
that
could be
is?
a good fit in Carolina.
That's more narrative to try to redress, the NFL in a good light. And what better way to do that than to use the reigning defending Super Bowl champion, the New England Patriots, as a driver?
Mm,
Think about it.
yeah, I
Think
mean,
about it. I
ultimately
mean,
the Panthers one made sense.
this is the same media that sat there and posted an article about Colin Kaepernick saying that he doesn't want to play for the AAF.
for $20 million or something
because
like
he wanted
that.
$20 million, and that
How
wasn't even
ridiculous
true.
was that? Yeah, that was so ridiculous.
But the part that made me
Um,
laugh was people were so quick to start, chastising and saying all these things about Colin Kaepernick. Oh well, blah blah blah. Like, where are you gonna get this money then if you can't play ball? Like, now you're just being too stubborn about it. And then the news came out that
mhm.
it was a complete lie. And now no one want to
Right.
say anything about it.
Yeah. Ain't that something?
That's just the
Ain't that?
world we live in.
Yeah.
Let's throw rocks at you. Oh wait, wrong.
Oh, wait a
And just
minute.
walk away.
That wasn't.
And just walk away.
Uh,
It wasn't me.
oh, that was. Oh, that wasn't true. Oh man. Oh no, Zion. Oh no, Zion
Exactly.
went
That's pretty
down,
much
ladies and
it.
gentlemen.
That's pretty
I'm
much
so
it.
sorry. Zion just went down, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, we got breaking news.
Yeah, well, I think he might have slipped, but it looked really, really nasty for a second there. I thought his future flashed in front of his eye, but it looks like his shoe just fell off. I'm sorry, people. I'm sorry. You could tell people were like, "Oh my God, he tore," because it looked like he tore his leg up or something.
Was it
But
was it was it like a Derrick Rose kind of moment when the crowd started saying, "Oh no, oh no"?
yeah, like because it could have been. It almost looked like a ACL, kind of thing, but it looks like he's okay. Hopefully.
What's the
We'll, we'll,
score for
we'll-
the people out there?
Oh, it just started. It's 2-0 right now.
Make sure you
Oh,
catch this.
excuse me, two
You
nothing. North Carolina, UNC. I'm
Yes.
sorry.
I was like, you
Uh,
gonna try to get Duke 2 points without them having 2 points?
but moving back to the game though here, we're moving back to Colin Kaepernick here. I think that ultimately I do want to see him back in the league. I would have loved to see him in the AAF. I think that would have potentially boosted their ratings in some aspects, but maybe they didn't want him because they didn't know how the viewers would react to it. I mean, you still have some of those areas where a lot of these teams are in states that pretty much aren't in favor of that particular boycott. So I don't
Yes.
know. I think I think it's good that he didn't um, go to the AAF. But if they wanted him, I would have loved to have seen him in the league. He is still better probably than every quarterback in that league, as well as a lot of starters in the NFL currently. Definitely better backup than many players than a lot of NFL players have. Uh,
Absolutely.
but but ultimately, hopefully, we get some good news. I just thought the settlement was interesting.
Yes, and once they start providing us with more information about this settlement, we'll talk about it. We'll probably do a quick video clip about that once it drops, instead of us waiting
Absolutely.
for another Wednesday to talk about it.
Absolutely, absolutely. And the last two things I want to talk about, speaking of burning jerseys,
Burn
just
it down!
give me a quick burn meter here, as it looks as though Zion Williams actually is going to the locker room to get further evaluation.
He's about to
But give
pull
me,
a Willis Reed. Don't worry about it.
gotcha. I hope so, because need the big Z out there. So speaking of burning it down, what do you think? Give me a burn meter here, 0 to 10.
Okay. Ten is
Let
like scorching hot earth hot.
right now 10 would be the jersey is already ashes flying through the air. um, what do you think when you hear Le'Veon Bell becoming a free agent?
Is that the burn meter or is that a question?
Give me,
I'm confused
yeah,
about
give me
that.
the burn. Yeah, the burn. Like how scorching hot is this jersey for Le'Veon Bell and those Steeler fans?
Ooh, that is a great question. The Steelers, who are a very loyal fan base. In fact, they probably have more fans than the Cowboys, in my opinion.
I would agree.
I would say you should have went for the head.
Really?
It's dust.
Oh wow! So the jersey's burnt.
The jersey doesn't feel so good.
Okay. Now his running mate, Antonio Brown,
Hmm.
who just met with Art Rooney. They hashed things. They spoke. They didn't hash things up, but they spoke, and they came to conclusion that the time it's time for them to basically move on.
I'm gonna say they should have went for the head, and it turned to dust. Only because the narrative coming out of the Steelers organization is gonna be more on how much Antonio Brown was a pariah in the locker room, and only a few media members will actually talk about how much influence Big Ben has.
Right.
And I'll add another one too. And actually, I feel really bad for this person. He's also, in the dust. Mike Tomlin is gonna suffer because of all this.
Well, see, that's where it gets to be kind of tricky because the Steelers historically have had receivers and running backs who
Mm-hmm.
have come in, they perform great, and then ultimately those receivers go on to play in other teams, and they don't do so well. Of course, you have Mike Wallace, Plexico Burris. Even though Plexico Burris had a great run,
And a
with
Super
the
Bowl.
Giants and a Super Bowl, but he didn't have that same I would say success that he had with the Steelers. Mike Wallace obviously had some success, probably not as much, but I think that when they leave that Steeler team, and it could be Big Ben, it could be the relationship that they have. It just doesn't go as well, in my opinion. But I mean, I do think that the Steeler fans are going to be out there burning those jerseys, though. Burn it down all
Oh
the
yeah.
way.
Oh yeah. Like it's gonna be several Spider-Mans with the number 84, on his face, just saying I don't feel so good,
I don't
and just
feel so
wafting
good.
into the breeze. Several Le'Veon Le'Veon Bell jerseys are sitting there saying Wakanda forever. The fight is only started, and grabbing each other's hands and just going away into the wind.
Right. Right. So let's look at this. I did hear something earlier today. What do you think? Landon Collins from the New York Football Giants packing up his locker today and saying goodbye to his teammates. Does Landon Collins jersey get burned out here?
Is he a free agent? I don't remember if he is.
I don't think so. I think he has another year left on his deal, if I'm not mistaken.
Really?
But yeah, I think all these guys, except for Le'Veon Bell, have time left on their career. That's what I'm saying. It's so different now. Like when to me, if I'm a general manager and I own a team and you're under contract, I don't care what your preference is. This is a business. I'm paying you to play. So you're telling me you're going to sit out without playing, then I'd preferably let you just sit there and not play than
But you're
play
still
for another
paying him.
team. Well, no, because I think in like look at Le'Veon's situation, he didn't get paid. You know what I mean? So a lot of times they don't get paid if they don't play.
But I thought that was
Because
part of his contract.
no, I think Le'Veon sitting out. That's what made it such a big deal. Le'Veon sitting out, I think, cost him. You think about it, it costs you the bonus, it costs you the salary because you're not playing in those games. I
Yeah,
think it does count against your salary cap, but
that it
ultimately
does.
you're not paying them, so it's kind of strange. But I don't like that narrative now that players have so much power over, you know, oh, I want to be traded to this team. Get out of here.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna go to whatever team gives me the best deal. I don't care what happens. Like with Anthony Davis, I would have been like, listen, I would have took a team. He could have went to the worst team, and that's where you're going. Antonio Brown, I'm sending you to the Miami Dolphins
Mm.
for, you know what I mean? Or I'm sending you to the Buffalo Bills or wherever Nathan Peterman is.
Well, and the funniest part is, like, the Giants might actually franchise tag Landon Collins,
They may. Yeah, they may.
and I
But I
think he
mean,
is a
it's
free agent. I think he's at the end of his rookie deal.
because I felt like I read something earlier that was saying, that he had
Hold
one
on,
more year,
I'm
one more year
gonna
left.
check the salary for that
Yeah,
person. So
yeah,
I'll find
yeah.
out.
Check it out.
I'll find
Yeah,
out.
because
We don't have
because
Chris. Chris is sick, because of all the change of weather. So we have to do our own number crunching today.
and then I'm reading narratives here, from the New York Post and the NFL.com. It says, I guess this could be the last year in this deal, but if they don't reach a new deal and they do tag him, he plans on sitting.
Yes,
And
which I
that's the
can see
part,
happening, and I think that might end up being a thing.
and that's the part that it's like I would want players to buy in, because you think about it, and now that we've seen it happen with Earl Thomas, now we
Mm-hmm.
know, players know, like, listen, I saw what happened with Earl Thomas last year. He went out there, after everybody was calling you selfish and all those other things, which is probably why Le'Veon Bell didn't come out. But it's like, I'm not going out there and getting hurt and, I lose all this money. You're going to pay me right now or I'm not playing.
Basically,
And I'm okay with that part. What I'm not okay with is like trade me to this team,
yeah.
trade me to that team.
Oh,
I don't
and
like
yes,
that.
Landon Collins is a unrestricted free agent.
Unrestricted free agent. Gotcha.
Yes,
Thank you, sir, for clearing that up.
no problem. It's what I do.
That's what you do. But burn meter, if he sits out for the Giants,
And Zion heads to the locker room after slipping and tearing through his shoe. So his shoe
right?
got tore up. I don't know
It
if you
looked
saw that
terrible.
part.
Yeah, I saw it, but it looked bad. I know he ripped through the shoe, but it didn't look good.
I think he's fine. He's gonna pull a Willis Reed, and then they're gonna, everyone's gonna lose their mind there, and they're gonna compare him to Paul Pierce because Paul Pierce did it correctly, and I think LeBron James tried to do it, but he failed.
Absolutely. And I guess Uh, those are really the big three that I could remember
Mm-hmm.
seeing, as far as players that may be on the move. So I think ultimately that's all I have for the NFL, with the exception of I heard rumors
Rumors.
that the Giants were looking to trade Odell Beckham Jr. until the Patriots came calling aggressively.
Yes, I did read that story. I had a great laugh about it. Um,
It's pretty funny.
it's hilarious. I'm like, they're like, yeah, we're gonna trade OBJ. We're gonna trade him. Oh, you want
Oh
him? You want him?
wait,
You want him? Want him? I want him too. Who are
Patriots.
you? The Patriots.
He's no longer for
Not
sale.
he's not for sale. No, those jokes, man. Those jokes. The jokes. I
Mhm.
got jokes.
So I thought that was pretty funny. But other than that, we can definitely move to end game. Unless you had
Yes.
something else, I don't think anything else is happening really in the NFL at this
Nope.
time.
Nope. I
Next
don't remember
month
if we actually talked about Kareem Hunt being signed by the Cleveland Browns.
we did last week.
Okay.
We did. We
Okay.
did.
Because I'm just looking at all the free agents for this upcoming
hmm
offseason. So,
Yeah, we talked about it last week. I have it. I still have it written down here,
okay.
from last week,
I
when
got
Duke
I
had
gotta
it.
make sure. I gotta make
No, you're
sure.
fine. You're fine, man. You're fine. But you know, I don't even have any final thoughts. I think this week has been pretty
But,
blah, really.
yeah, yeah, I can agree with that. I actually have a few. And one of them was breaking news. In the MLB, because I'm still looking for October, but I can't find it. I mean, it was snowing out
Yeah.
there in Jersey, though. But I mean, it was raining the other day out here in Dallas.
Mm, mm,
So Manny Machado signed with.
hmm.
Sorry, I don't know why I'm over here. The San Diego Padres for $300 million. So he is the first of the big free agents in the MLB to sign a contract. So we're still waiting to see what Bryce Harper is planning on doing. I'm still holding out hope that my Yankees can pick him up. Um, Especially since Machado was with the Yankees last year and he really wasn't that good. Um, but that was something really big that came out of the MLB. I just wanted to mention that for one of my final thoughts.
Absolutely.
The other final thought, and is actually within one subject, Evo Japan was this past weekend.
Yes.
And for those that don't know, the Doc and I, we enjoy watching some Evo. You know, some Street Fighter, some Mortal Kombat, some Super Smash Brothers Melee, maybe Smash 4, but it's gonna be Smash Ultimate now for this upcoming year. Mortal Kombat 11 for this upcoming year as well too. But we have Evo Japan, which is out there in the land of the rising sun.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you noticed the shirt that I was wearing, Doc,
Well, I didn't get a chance to see it because of Skype.
but your boy was wearing the shirt of the winner of Evo Japan 2019.
Wow.
It's Momochi,
Mamochi himself.
former Evo US winner back in 2015,
Mm-hmm.
with a heck of a grand finals against Gamer B. It's probably top, I want to say top 5 all time actually, and that's probably still being nice, and it's probably even top 3. I know you feel a certain type of way about our second Evo
Hmm.
visit. In fact, actually, you feel a certain type of way about the grand finals for both the Evos that we went to actually for Street Fighter Five.
I mean, we
I
had a
had to
good time
rethink
though.
about that.
Ultimately, we had a good time. I think that's the main
You know,
point is
it's
having a good
especially
time.
especially against your boy. You know, he looked like a pissant, but now he's a pissant infiltration.
Yes, he really is, and I feel like I called it.
Now, I don't think you called it, but you know what? I'm gonna let you have this one.
Yeah,
But
I
Momochi
feel like I
brought
called
home
it.
first prize. Fudo was the runner-up. Um, Other people in the top 8 that I know that you know of. Your boy, the Peyton Manning of the FGC, Punk, uh,
Peyton Manning.
finished 4th, which is really
That's right.
good. That's actually really incredible.
Of course.
Nemo finished. Ooh, wee, what was that?
Sorry, sorry about that.
Nemo finished tied for 5th. Oil King finished 7th. And of course, the other people I don't think you know of. So, any other notable people in the rankings? Not really. So that was Street Fighter Five. We also had the Tekken 7, um, which I don't even think you followed that one. In fact, I don't even think you like Tekken 7 actually. So I'm just gonna keep on going.
I've never actually played Tekken 7. I mean, the one thing I do see here that I'm actually pretty excited about. I mean, of course, I hate the fact that they still play Guilty Gear, but that's neither here nor there. I love the fact that
Wait,
they
wait, wait, wait,
brought in
wait.
a.
For a moment though, wait. Before we do that, I'm gonna steer off course real quick. Tell the people why you don't like Guilty Gear,
It
because I don't
looks.
think they know.
It just doesn't look like a good game, in my opinion. It looks too like, and I don't know the background of the game, but I could just tell you it looks like the equivalent of game doo doo.
Wow.
Like if games could take a poop, it would look like Guilty Gear.
Wow.
Fighting
Uh,
games, if fighting games could poop.
wow.
Like if Street Fighter 8, Mortal Kombat and Marvel versus Capcom,
hmm
and then ate the previous Street Fighters, it would poop Guilty Gear.
Dang. And actually, speaking of a game that was a side tournament actually at Evo Japan, Fighting EX Slayer, the game that you saw me play the demo
Dominate
for
in, dominate in.
during our last Evo visit, they actually
Hmm.
had a side tournament, and I actually had to check that out. Like I said, I'm gonna see if there's any clips for that. And I
Yeah,
kind of want to start putting that out there on Gaming Amongst Friends. Make sure you follow Gaming Amongst Friends on YouTube and also follow our Facebook account as well too, because we're starting to get a team going, a certain team of neutralizers.
yeah. The team is growing, and if you are out there listening to the sound of my voice and you're interested in joining Team Neutralize as we try to save now Washington, D.C., as we did New York City, I mean, join the team.
Absolutely, absolutely. And my final thought, um, actually one of two, because one of them is a controversy that I wanted to get your opinion about. But there was a couple of reveals that happened at the end or during Evo 2019. The main one for me that caught my eye was for Tekken 7. Um, One of the fan favorite Julia Chang gameplay trailer was revealed, as well as from The Walking Dead, Negan, or Negan, however you want to call his name. So we
Negan.
actually had a chance to watch some of his gameplay, as well as Julia Chang's gameplay. Uh, it is very interesting for his gameplay. I'm not gonna, I won't lie to you. I don't know the character that well, so I can't really make any in-depth analysis. But Julia Chang is going to be a nightmare for Marduk, who's already in the game. Marduk, who is a
Mm,
grappler, because she has a lot of really good mid mix-ups that's going to become nightmares for those kind of players. And they will be available for all to play February 28th, 2019. So if you're playing Tekken 7 and you want to try out Julia Chang or Negan, make sure you buy the game. And you know, Tekken, you should make sure you send that check over to Scott for Business Amongst Friends. Thank you very much.
please. But I was also happy to see, and I'm not sure if this is a return or this is just like something that, might have just happened because they were in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
Soul Calibur.
Yes.
Soul Calibur was in there, and I was actually, I used to like Soul Calibur when I was younger, but I'm interested to see how that does, and if they bring something like that over to the next Evo here in the States.
I believe it will, and if it is, it's probably gonna end up being a Friday or Saturday final.
Got it, got it.
Because I don't think they made an announcement for the games for Evo US for this year.
And I mean, we might have to look into Evolution Japan next year, and
Maybe,
see if we can make it happen.
maybe. I mean, we could see if we can get the entire team to come along and check it out. Maybe we can goad some people to actually compete.
Yeah, like yourself.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty much just trying to stick with the shooting games now.
You don't need to do that. You're so good, man. You can go out there and compete with the best of them.
Yeah, they didn't announce the games for 2019 yet. They still have all the ones for 2018. So once that get announced, I'll make sure to let everyone know this. But the one that I wanted to talk about, I want to get your opinion about because it led to some controversy.
Mm-hmm.
DOA or Dead of Life 6 announced another trailer
Mm-hmm.
where Mai Shiranui from the King of Fighters game is a guest character for this game. She was actually in the prior Dead or Alive game, but there was controversy because on stage, Japan being Japan, so they really embrace like showing sexuality and things like that. They had some rather beautiful women on stage, dressed in a way that definitely emphasized on their assets,
Mm-hmm.
and it caused some confusion because the main person behind Evolution, which is a mystery,
Right.
Mr. Wiz actually, uh, posted on Twitter saying that Evo doesn't support like what you're seeing here isn't part of Evo's core values and things like that. But he actually ended up taking down that tweet, and I had a chance to listen to our boy Ernesto on Button Check. Make
Mm-hmm.
sure you check out Button Check on YouTube as well. Actually, just go on YouTube, type in Ernesto Lopez Button Check, and you'll be able to find it. He has all your news for the FGC news. Um, big shout outs to him. But I wanted to ask you, sir, was it fair or foul for Mr. Wiz to take down the tweet
we live in a world where tweets can make or break you, and it's not so much fair or foul. It's more of
Was it the right thing to do?
yeah, like it's um it's tough. Like I said, I think the thing with social media is that some people live and die by it, like they govern their whole lives around it. So if this is a tweet that would have came back ultimately to haunt him,
Mm-hmm. Well,
then I
well,
mean,
take this though too. So during the whole thing that was happening, because they were showing little bits of gameplay, but like they'll pause it in very, peculiar situations with the characters,
hmm
and it got to a point to where they actually pulled the stream, like they cut the stream,
hmm
and of course that's where the tweet came out apologizing for the sexual content because we live in the PC world.
So again, and that's where it gets kind of tough because we live in I guess a politically correct world,
Mm-hmm.
and it's
Well,
like,
it's not even just politically correct, but and people was talking about they have sponsors they have to answer to and things like that, and if they didn't prepare their sponsors for what they're gonna see on U.S. soil, because Japan is Japan. Like I'm not
right.
gonna sit here and argue about that. Like Japan is Japan. Like they're gonna do them, and it's awesome because that leads to us saying, you know, it's Japan. Thank you, Japan. But it's
But at the
the
same
U.S. side
time,
of
it's
things is where the controversy come up, and a lot of people have mixed feelings about it. Where some are like, you know what, I understand why they did it. It's a business. You got to protect your brand, but at the same time, it's like, like you're kind of hurting the core values that led to Evo being what it's being, and now you're starting to become corporate.
well, see, that's the thing I'm saying. It's like, you know, it's tough because it's a video game. I think in this particular day and age, video games have become somewhat over sexualized, especially with some of the characters. You know,
I
you
know how
know,
you
and
felt about Arbika.
I'm not gonna get into details about
Well, because
the
I know
characters.
how you felt about Armika. Then you was like laughing because I want to say it wasn't Mago. Who was it? It was an Armika player up on stage on Sunday, and they
hmm
pretty much like hit like a hard stop for a while because they had to make him switch costumes. And you was asking like, well, what's going on? I'm like, well, they're making him change Mika's costume because it's too
Which
sexualized.
which is it's not it's dumb because let's
And remember, that was the
say
year that they was doing it on ESPN too.
ESPN, yes, and I remember. So my thing is, and of course, eventually we're gonna see this, and you mark my words today. Um, Not all female MMA fighters, I was gonna say players, but MMA fighters are gonna be have this athletic body. Eventually, you're gonna get someone with the body of, let's say, a Serena Williams out
Mm-hmm.
there in the MMA. And what are you going to do? Tell her to wear loose fitting shorts of some sort? You know what I'm saying? Like, eventually, you're going to get that. So I think it's time for us to stop over analyzing sexual content, especially because it's in everything.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so, with that said, I wouldn't have tweeted out there. I probably would have just waited to see if anybody even really noticed, or ultimately start working with the designers of these games to make less sexual character
So
costumes.
your solution is to ask the developers of a game in a country where sexuality is embraced versus, toned down, and you're asking them to basically tone it down for a PC audience and not so much of pretty much their wider spread audience, which is those in Japan.
Or keep that in or keep it in Japan. I'm not saying anything. I'm just telling you, if you have to continuously worry about sponsors, because these sponsors, if they're true sponsors, they would know what they're getting themselves into. It shouldn't be a problem. Like, if you go, like, I give you an example. If you go and invest money into a cannabis business, And then that cannabis business releases a T-shirt with someone smoking weed on it.
Hmm.
I mean, wouldn't you kind of almost expect that? You get what I'm saying? Where these fighting games historically have always had, female characters, big breasts, short, mini skirts, you know, whatever other costumes. I mean, ultimately, you come to expect that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's my thing.
I
It's
mean, heck,
like,
like not even saying fighting games. Like think about like one of the most recognized female characters that's not a princess in video game history. Samus Aran.
right,
What happened after you hit a certain code at the end of the first Metroid? She's there sitting there in a bikini. People lost their
right.
minds. But like only the diehard fans ended up finding out. Of course, the internet and dirt sheets ended up revealing that information later on. But like no one would have known about that.
Agreed. Agreed. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, to answer the question, I think that I probably wouldn't have advised him to put a tweet up there. Period. I would have just let it roll because at this point, people should already know.
Well, and it wasn't just him putting out the tweet, but like even one of the commentators for the event, Markman actually, also issued an
Hmm.
apology on the stream as well too. So like it wasn't just a one time or a one person thing. Like it was pretty much sensational. Like yeah, we're sorry. Like this doesn't reflect our core values yet. No, it doesn't reflect the core values at all. Like mean, does it? I mean, I think there might be some repercussions for it. I mean, maybe they may or may not have certain parts of Evo Japan streamed.
Hmm.
Maybe they had to put it behind like a paywall or something. I don't know, but we don't know what's gonna happen.
I mean, but ultimately, I don't really understand why we're talking about it. I mean, ESPN has boxing, and the ring girls walk around, and the whole point of the ring girls walking around is to get people excited about the fight.
Yeah,
So that's the thing. It just doesn't make any ultimate sense. Like we really shouldn't even be talking about this. It should even be a big deal.
it shouldn't be, but it turned into a big deal once they started putting apologies out there.
Yeah, and that's the thing that's kind of weird about it. It shouldn't even be a Yeah, it shouldn't even be a deal out here.
But those are all my final thoughts. I figured let me add that last piece at the end to get your information on it.
Absolutely.
But, ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of our show. Doc, where can they listen and connect with us at?
Of course, they can listen to us here on YouTube, where we are live at this particular time. Of course, iTunes, Google Play Music. Eventually, we are going to get it on Spotify. I know we probably haven't got a chance to talk about it yet, but we'll get it on Spotify eventually. I'm sure it's just a matter of updating an RSS feed somewhere. Um, But, you can check out our replays also if you follow our page on Facebook. We do tend to put it out there as well. So, yeah, absolutely. You have so many opportunities to watch and listen to us, see what we're sharing. Again, check out not only Debate Amongst Friends, but also Gaming Amongst Friends, Marking Out Amongst Friends, and all of those particular platforms and shows that we offer here just to give you, the people, an opportunity to hear a different perspective.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I can't wait to just continue to grow this brand, sir. Because we're neutralizing, we're debating, and heck, we may even be marking soon.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
But you never know. But tonight's outro track. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we came back with an outro track, and this is a premiere from our boy Marcus D from his newest album, Terraluna. The name of the track is called Embers. It is out there on his Bandcamp. It's out there in Spotify, Google Play Music, iTunes. Make sure you check it out. Show him some love because he comes out with some great music all the time. In fact, he's
Boom.
actually coming out with another album next week, and we'll probably be premiering that as well too. So make sure you show him some love. This album is absolutely free if you get it off the Bandcamp site, and we hope you enjoy it. But thank you very much. I am the Professor John Gotti.
And this is the podcast beast, Doc Lesnar. And I hope you guys have a great evening.
And like we always say, goodbye. Mwah. And to all, a good night.
Taste the ocean.